Pet Life Radio.
This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, feline friends. Welcome to Cattitude. Happy 2025. Wow. And we're already off to a crazy year. But, your start of the year, we always make resolutions and things we want to do. So we're going to get to that in this show. The first show I'm recording of 2025. I have a great guest today because he is a cat behaviorist. And don't we want to know more about our cats and understand them? Well, here's some tips. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You know the expression, cats have 9 lives. Well, what if you can give them one more? The Give Them 10 movement is on a mission to help give cats an extra life. How? With spay and neuter. Spaying or neutering your cat helps them live a longer, healthier life. And it helps control free-roaming cat populations too. Learn more about the benefits of spay and neuter and meet Scooter, the neutered cat, at GiveThem10.org. That's GiveThem10.org.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to welcome Stephen Quandt. He's a cat behavior expert. He has a private practice, and he also works with the Animal Care Centers of New York City. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Michelle. It is great to be here today.
I'm very excited to have you on. Can you give us a little history about yourself? Because you have a really unusual, some interesting stories, and then tell us what exactly a cat behaviorist does.
Sure. Happy to. So in a kind of previous life, I was a theatrical lighting designer, go figure. And I slowly made a transition in animal welfare that really kind of jump-started when I responded as a volunteer to the Joplin, Missouri tornado in 2011. And after that, I got a contract with the Field Investigation and Response Team at ASPCA. And I worked for them for a whole bunch of years going around the country on large-scale criminal cruelty and disaster cases, and eventually got more training in feline behavior and ended up at the Animal Care Centers of New York City, where I do feline behavior as well. So, and in between all of this, a few years ago, I went to Ukraine, to the site of the Chernobyl nuclear accident, and worked with the wild dogs that live around the power plant in a spay-neuter research campaign. So I feel like I've had a crazy life. But that's, in a nutshell, I guess, kind of what led up to today.
Very interesting. So a lot of people have misconceptions about what a cat behaviorist does. What do they do?
Nice question. On the one hand, I think it's fair to say that we try our best to understand cats. And in a sense, they're somewhat unknowable creatures, right? I joke that I send emails to my clients' cats, and the cats just don't read the emails. But, to some extent, they're unknowable, but we try our best to understand them. And then we try and interpret that understanding for people who either have behavior questions or more likely behavior problems. So we're focused on cats, but we talk to the people and we talk to cats through behavior. One way to talk to cats is actually engaging in behaviors with them to see what they respond to. So I think my role as a behavior specialist is understanding them, interpreting that behavior, and helping the humans have the best possible life with their cats.
So you talk to the humans and you talk to the cats.
Absolutely. The cats I talk to by extension through the people, because I ask the people, the humans, to do certain things with their cats to see if the cat responds by making a change in its behavior, in his or her behavior. And if the cat responds in a way that we're hoping or anticipating, then we know that the cat is in a dialogue with the human. That's the best way for a cat to talk to us, is to do something. And if they don't do what we want or what we hope, then we're not talking and they're not listening and we have to try something else.
Okay, interesting. Are expectations of us cat parents realistic most of the time? Some of the time, most of the
Some of it, yeah, it's a mix. It depends on what the issue is. Sometimes, yes, but let's not forget that sometimes their expectations are colored or influenced by their hopes, their concern, their worry. I often talk to people who are very worried about their cat's behavior and hopeful at the same time. And I have to help them compassionately make that connection back with their cat. And as we do that, we are both of us, all of us, whether it's a single person or a couple and me, we're both kind of organically trying to understand where the cat is, what the opportunities are for success, why the cat is doing what it's doing. And I can speak to that more if you'd like with respect to how try and understand cats and what the driving forces are that affect cat behavior.
Okay, well, we're going to dive into some of that, but we talked about this pre-show, and here's my question to you and my guess. So we were talking about the most common reasons people contact you. I'm thinking I have a tie. I can't tell one or the other. I'm thinking it's litter box and aggression.
Did you see me smiling as you were getting ready to say those two things to me? Because yes, you're spot on. You're dead on.
Well, I've had 200 something shows, so I guess I listened and learned something over the years. So that's
Hey, maybe you should join me on a behavior consultation sometime, and I could bring you in as a part-time expert, full-time expert.
my cat crew. That's what I have problems with. And I'm a cat parent just like all of our listeners. But yeah, so tell us about those two.
Yeah, so cat on cat aggression, usually a new cat being introduced into the home where there's a resident cat, sometimes cat aggression between two cats who have normally a friendly relationship, but something has interrupted or broken that relationship. That is the number one reason why people seek me out. So much so that I feel like it's a subspecialty of what I do. Litter box issues is right up there at number two. Both of these are serious, serious problems and cause heartache. And people need solutions for this. It's not, cat scratching on your sofa may not be enjoyable, but it's not necessarily causing you great distress. So those two problems are occupy the vast majority of why people contact me. And yeah, and I can speak more to either of those issues if you'd like, but that's the short answer to your question.
I just have a little comment because I had a great show that I did last year with American Cat. Oh, I can't remember. The Good, the Bad, the Cuddly. It was about declawing. And I've decided that there's way too many people that don't understand, even cat pet parents that don't understand that. I have never met a cat behaviorist that is for it. I don't know what your personal opinion is, but so declawing, as we know, is cutting the first knuckle. And that actually brings out more aggression. It doesn't stop aggression from a cat behavior's point of view.
It can do a lot of negative things, actually. And I'll mention that New York State, which is where I'm located, obviously, is the first state in the country to outlaw declawing, except in very, very rare circumstances, usually affecting the health of the human. So New York is kind of on board with no longer tolerating this. But yeah, it is a severing of the joint. It can result in phantom pain. Amputees can experience pain where their limb used to be. And depriving cats of, this is an incredibly important thing for cats. They express themselves with nails, with scratching things. They have scent glands there where they deposit scent. They relieve itching in themselves by giving themselves scratches. They get balance from their nails. They have safety with their nails and their claws. They can develop litter box issues because of perceived discomfort in the litter box as a result of the surgery. everyone agree, every vet will tell you that there is post-surgical pain, whether it's the standard amputation or it's a tendinectomy, which is the severing of the tendon, which just prevents the nail from coming out. You still actually have to clip the nails because they're still there. So there are all sorts of issues with declawing, and I'm certainly not in favor of it, really, in any circumstance.
Okay, I didn't think so. And yay, New York, my birth state. So I wish more states were on board and can bring about more aggression.
Yeah, there's some evidence to suggest that declawed cats can resort to their secondary defense, which is biting. Normally, the order of defense is using claws first because that's safer from the cat's point of view. They don't have to get their face involved. If they can't scratch, they will bite. And if they don't have the option to scratch, some cats may become biters. I mean, I have come across plenty of declawed cats. I can't say that I've seen this so much personally, but there is at least some evidence to suggest that it's true. But regardless, it's not happy for a cat. Cats are pure, perfect creatures. They were created in this world to completely meld with their environment, and we are modifying them in a really awful way just to kind of protect things like our furniture. There are better ways to protect your furniture than declawing a cat.
Exactly. And during that show, I said, who needs to have a $5,000, $10,000 cat? But Jennifer Conrad, who's a huge person with the Paw Project and very involved with all that, and the movie was focused on her, said, I have clients in Beverly Hills and everything. They have $20,000 couches. You can teach a cat not to claw in front of it. I did it with mine. And if I could teach mine, that's saying a lot because I can be a better teacher. But yes, at least we know about the aggression part. I have a question. Let's go back to you. Your service, and thank you for all that information because I learned something. I had no idea there were scent glands in their nails.
In their paws, actually.
In their paws,
but,
okay.
Yeah, there's scent glands all over cats, and these scents are used for different purposes.
So interesting. So for your services, you have a questionnaire pre-consultation. Is that the norm?
So actually, to be clear, I have 3 questionnaires. The
Right.
most recent is only very recent. So I have a standard pre-consultation questionnaire, which just lets people talk about the behavior concerns generally. There's a litter box questionnaire that really seeks to give me a clearer picture of what's going on if the cat's eliminating outside the litter box. And I recently added a cat-to-cat aggression questionnaire that really dives deep into what's going on between the cats. To your question, I would say it's reasonably common. I've talked to I do talk to other behavior specialists who I consider friends and colleagues, and many of them have questionnaires, but I don't know that all of them have questionnaires.
Okay. And then one last question, and then we're going to go to our second half. Do you ever have cat parents that come to you more for validation versus correction?
Not as a primary means of coming to me, but in the course of a conversation, sometimes in what can be a situation involving a certain amount of heartache, where they may be getting criticism or pushback from friends or relatives on whatever is being discussed. And they will say, thank you for validating what I'm thinking. And part of my job, honestly, and I don't make this up, this is real, is providing compassion to people who are trying their hardest to help their cats. And sometimes other people will say, you should get rid of your cat. Why do you keep that cat? That cat is being aggressive or is doing X or Y. And that's a terrible thing. Would you say to someone you should get rid of your child? No, absolutely not. And it would be considered beyond rude to even entertain a comment like that. So it's really no different. Someone who makes a comment like that is not really thinking about the emotional implications of what they're saying to someone. If someone's cat has recently passed away, I would never say to them, are you thinking about replacing him or her? You're going to get another cat? That's for them to decide when they have gone through their own grieving process. So it's important to be sensitive to people and their needs and the emotions that they're feeling. If someone needs to surrender a cat, and at the animal care centers, we have cats that are surrendered all the time, I try and counsel people that it is important not to feel guilty or to feel like a failure, because it's bad enough that you're going to feel grief and loss. And grief and loss can be made worse by feeling guilty or feeling like you're a failure. People have tried hard to make things work. So I do feel that I validate people, but it isn't necessarily why they're coming to me. They discover it in the course of our conversation as a kind of secondary aspect of that conversation.
Wonderful how you are able to respect their opinions and just help people along the way from whatever their process is. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and we're going to talk about what we talk about in January, resolutions, but these are resolutions for your cats. We'll be right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. And our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Stephen Quandt. He is a cat behavior expert. So now let's talk about resolutions. So I was on your website, and we're going to let people know, and then we're going to let people know again when we're done talking, because I want people to make sure that they know how to get to your site. So one of the big resolutions for people is, of course, getting in shape, weight management, that sort of thing. Why? Because you want to be healthy, live longer, be able to, sit down, touch your toes, put on your shoes, blah, blah. So we want this for our cat too. So our cat lives longer, is healthier, and so forth. But it is hard. Why is it so hard to help your cat lose weight?
Yeah, well, so cats typically in homes are spayed and neutered. And spayed and neutered cats, which there are many, many benefits to spaying and neutering your cat. I am a big advocate of this. They actually live longer. They're less likely to get certain cancers, especially female cats. They're less likely to have behavior problems, but their metabolism also can slow down a little bit. And we also need to remember that cats, unlike dogs, which dogs are, they're pack animals and operate differently. They obtain their food differently than cats. Cats are predators, and predators problem solve in order to get their food. They exercise in order to get their food. And there is a balance between the calories expended to obtain a food source and that food itself. So that can be in balance. Indoor cats, some cats are indoor outdoor. And that's another question, another topic where we can certainly tackle. But a lot of cats are indoor cats, and they are essentially, by the function of being inside companions, they are less likely to be engaging in predatory or even simulated predatory behaviors. They're not expending energy in the same way. They may become lazier, no fault of their own. And the balance between the calories going out, the calories coming in, isn't quite in balance, and they tend to start putting on weight. It's essentially a function of being an indoor cat. If you look at outdoor cats, cats that live exclusively outdoors, they're not overweight. If they're thriving in their environment, and not all cats do, but for cats that thrive outdoors, they generally are of normal weight. I like to kind of joke with clients, but I'm not actually joking. Outdoor cats don't have behavior problems. They have behavior, but they don't have behavior problems. Pretty much all the behavior problems we see in cats are a function of coming indoors and not having as many places to eliminate urine and feces, not having the same amount of territory, not having the same opportunities for hunting. So And many cats do great in indoor environments. But when we see cats with problems, we can usually trace it back to some connection to an evolutionary need or an adaptive force that is not well balanced indoors. So for cats, indoor cats who are spayed and neutered and not getting a lot of exercise, they can put on weight. And how to get the weight off is an entirely different question, which maybe we should talk about.
Yes, that's my next question, because you have a great blog article that everybody should read. What's your website?
My website is really simple. I love websites with catchy names. Mine's not particularly catchy. It just is kind of matter of fact. It's catbehaviorhelp.com.
Cat behavior help. I like it. Simple, to the point, get it done. So let's talk about, as you were talking, I'm thinking a lot of cats that are indoor cats are couch cats. And I have my own opinion about, I live in it's like suburbs, so my cats are indoors, plus where I live, for weather reasons, they're indoors, and there's predators out there like raccoons and possums and the occasional coyote, even though I live in Greater Fort Lauderdale, so we have all these creatures. No alligators. I don't know. I don't hardly see them. But so they're indoor cats. And yeah, that's I've had shows about the indoor outdoor. But two of them are a little fat. And here's my issue. And I read your article. See, my problem is my significant other, he thinks they should have treats and they need their food, and then otherwise they demand it. So he's the one that gets woken up at 5 something in the morning. So that's the challenge I have. And I think you called it free feeding for treats.
Some people do what's called free feeding, which they typically leave a bowl of dry food out all the time.
Okay.
And the cat has continuous access.
Yeah, see, I told him not to do that, and there's a little argument there. So
I can help you. I can help both of you. Sometimes, I when I work with couples, sometimes they look at me and they say, "Are you a couples counselor?" And I joke with them. I'm like, "No, but I do want to help you both work this out. So I can give you a tip on that. But go ahead and launch into it with me if you'd like."
No, so I think that it's a battle. It's a battle that I lose because, as any couples, it's the spectrum slides, it's not always 50-50, and he's so stubborn, I think, on these subjects. It's just like, okay, fine. So that's a challenge. And then the other challenge, so how do you come to terms with what they should eat? And I realize they could eat, like a diet food, and I do mix wet and dry. I'm on the border of doing my own version of lightly cooked raw, but there's just that challenge. So we were almost out of time. So what do you have to suggest for that?
So let me give you a quick answer for your particular issue, which is many people's issue, which is cats who wake us up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So every animal has a method of calorie retention. And the way in which cats retain their calories is they hunt, they problem solve, they exercise, they find their prey, they kill it, they eat it, and then nature says, go to sleep. Sleep so you don't use up those wonderfully earned calories. So one way to address the cat who wakes us up at 5 in the morning is to engage them in this cycle of predation about an hour before your bedtime. Give them a play session, play being a substitute for hunting, then give them an additional meal, right? And that will help tell the cat they need to go to sleep because they did everything in the right order. They hunted, they expended energy, they played, and then they eat, and then the switch gets turned from on to off. Cats also eat 8, 10, 12 times a day. So if we only feed our cats twice a day, they're going 12 hours between meals. So you could buy some real time in the morning. Your husband will thank you. Give them some exercise and a third meal about an hour before your bedtime. Do we have enough time to talk about some other aspects of weight loss?
Yes. Well, I have one last question. How can you get your cats moving?
So we want to interest them in exercise. And that doesn't mean sometimes just holding a feather wand gently. We want to figure out what our cat wants to do and how to get them to do it. That could mean, for example, a complicated puzzle feeder where they have to solve a problem in order to get the treat. Cats are fundamental problem solvers. So if we do clicker training with a cat, we can get a cat to follow a target stick. And that could mean get them to an exercise wheel. There are really great exercise wheels out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention brand names, but
Yeah, that's fine.
So One Fast Cat makes a really great exercise wheel. And it's like the similar thing for a mouse or a gerbil, right? They get on the wheel and they run. This is about a 3-foot diameter wheel, and there are ways to train your cats to use things like that. Lasers can be good. You can pre-position little bits of treats around your home to teach the cat that if they follow the laser dot, they'll actually get something for their effort. Motion-sensitive toys are a way where the cat touches the toy and it springs to life and jumps around. Those can interest cats. So, finding creative solutions to bored cats is great. So that's one. And you could also harness train your cat and take them for a walk. Taking cats for walks is a great way of using up energy. And if you carefully harness train your cat and you take them outside in a safe environment where they're not likely to become scared, that's a great way for them and for you, mind you. Everybody gets a little exercise that way.
Yes. We have time for probably like 1 minute more of a comment. So anything else you want to add?
If you want your cat to lose weight, I would start with a vet visit. I would get a digital baby scale and do weekly or bi-weekly weighings of your cat. Keep a little logbook so that you can actually see if there's progress being made. You always want your cat to lose weight slowly because rapid weight loss in cats is dangerous. You don't want to do that. You want to have a high protein diet because cats can use protein for energy, unlike people who need carbs or fat to have energy. Cats, as obligate carnivores, actually metabolize protein and can express that protein in terms of energy production. So that's great. And label recommendations on cat food always assume that you're only feeding the cat that thing. But most people aren't. They're feeding a wet food, a dry food, some combination. So figuring out what the best amount of foods to feed your cat to not overfeed them is probably a question best for your vet.
Okay, thank you so much. And again, where people can find out more about you and your services and your blog?
Catbehaviorhelp.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephen, for coming on Cattitude and sharing all this knowledge. It's only January and it's already started off crazy, but I wish you a wonderful year and hopefully you can come on again sometime.
I would love to. Thank you so much, Michelle, for having me. I am a fan and it was an honor to be here today.
It's an honor to have you. My pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed this show. It was wonderful having Stephen Quandt on. Remember, his website is catbehaviorhelp.com. I want to thank everyone that's listening to Cattitude. Let's make it a great 2025. I wish you a wonderful and prosperous and healthy new year, and peaceful too. And thanks to my cat crew that are thriving. Thanks to Dennis, Charlotte, and Molly. And of course, the show would not be the same without the wonderful skills of my producer, Mark Winter. Thank you, Mark, for all you do. And thanks again, everyone, for listening to Cattitude and making it one of the top cat podcasts. Wow. So thank you for your loyalty. I appreciate it. And hey, remember, lose the attitude, have Cattitude.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.